Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for being here today. I join my voice in the chorus of being very excited about an infrastructure package. Senator Cardin and I worked this through our subcommittee, and we build a lot of sustainability of materials and everything into this to hopefully build a longer life. I wanted to ask the mayor a question quickly on the flexibility that you're asking for, because this is an issue with Senator Sullivan has a bill that I'm on asking for the dollars that have gone to the smaller states to be able to have the governor use the flexibility for city, county, and state lost tax revenue. Would our state taxes has a gas tax, and I would include that in the package of tax lost tax revenues that would be important to a governor. Do you have a thought on this in terms of what you see in Kentucky or in Louisville?
Yes, our gas tax has been a declining source of revenue for the state for quite some time. As a result of that, we get less and less every year as well. But I would definitely have this total bucket of all the funds that are available so that we can look at as a system and allocate those to the places where we have the most vehicle miles being traveled, where the greatest economic impact is coming from as well. I mean, we have to take care of our rural brothers and sisters as well. But the dynamism of the economy is in the cities, certainly here in Louisville and Kentucky and throughout the rest of the country as well. So the more that we can look at it as a system and not balkanized into these different funds, I think that's the way that we maximize the funding.
Well, like our state of West Virginia is down 27% in their gas tax. I will say also, to the credit of our state, we passed a state referendum 2 years ago that actually raised our gas tax and actually said, this is important to us as citizens to have, you know, our potholes filled and new construction and all of the things that in a mountainous state and a rural state is sometimes very difficult to maintain. Mr. Magoo, I wanted to ask you about bridges, because this is my state also, where we have 21% of our bridges are deficient. And so when we were writing this highway bill that we've all talked about today, one of the set-asides that I worked really hard in and wanted to make sure we were able to include is a $6 billion set-aside that actually dedicates to bridge repair. We've seen some large bridges across the country collapse to calamitous endings. But we also know in all of our areas we have bridges that can't be used for school buses, can't be used for heavier trucks, and are a danger really in the communities. My state is one of these. You highlight that in some of your comments, but when we asked CRS to report on this, and I don't know if you're aware of this, they said that we're actually making better progress in our bridge repair than maybe the ARTBA had assessed in their report. Are you aware of that discrepancy in those two reports?
I'm not aware of the discrepancy. I am aware that we are gaining ground on fixing our bridges as far as a percent deficient. But when you look at that, the number of years, decades that it would take to fix our bridges, that's the real challenge. So the dollars still need to be coming in to be able to fix the ones that are deficient. So while it may look better year to year, the real challenge is that how many years is it really going to take, in your case, in your state, to fix those deficient bridges?
Right, and that's why I absolutely insisted that we include this in the package, because it's important not just in my state, but also a lot of other states. Just on the issue of construction companies now, I know a lot of them have gotten PPP loans. A lot of them are some of them it seems like when you're on the highway, there's a lot of construction, but I'm sure it's a lot less than it was. What are you seeing in terms of safety of your workers? What are you seeing in terms of confidence of rebuild? And you know, Mr. Holtz-Eakin, I don't know if you have a comment on where you see this construction industry could help pull us out of where we are right now. I think it'd be an important part. And then we'll get to health of workers. Yeah.
Okay. I guess what I would emphasize is that the supply chain is a really important part of the economy, and keeping it going in the face of the virus is actually a priority. It's one of the things we managed to do pretty well. But that does say that if you've got truck drivers, rail personnel, cargo pilots, and the attendant crews, they should be a top priority for PPE and the ability to continue to operate as we go forward. The virus isn't gone. We're going to have to at least over a sustained period, protect them during the course of their job. And That's not to diminish the first responders and the health frontline workers, but people forget about the sort of economics of that supply chain sometimes, and it's very important.
Right. Well, we actually had a hearing in Commerce yesterday that this point was really hit hard on, particularly in areas that might be forgotten, like rail or other arenas.
Yeah,
Mr.
I
Magoo,
think
did
the
you have
rail folks have been forgotten. I mean,
Right.
that's important. They move a lot of cargo.
Right. Well, I think my time's over. But
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank